This is like what do the Russians call it? The mother bomb. Yes. It's like the bombus, whatever it's called. This is huge. Yes. This is a major thing.
Yes.
Now, I want to bring another piece of evidence which I didn't know about until relatively recently. I actually found that I did know about it in my notes, but I'd forgotten. Mm-hmm. Okay, I had notes from like 15 years ago. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I already knew about that, but I had forgotten about this. So there are 3 manuscripts, 2 of which are copies of the first one. And how do I know that 2 are a copy of the first one? Mm-hmm. So it's very common in manuscripts to have something called a colophon.
Yes.
A colophon is information written when you're done writing a manuscript or done with a certain section of the manuscript. And the colophon gives information about who wrote it, who copied it. Mm-hmm. So manuscript Q has a colophon, not from the original author, but from the copyist who copied that particular manuscript. Mm-hmm. And the colophon says as follows. It's pretty interesting here. So it says, I, Menachem Moscato, son of my Lord Father Moses, this is the scribe who was copying this, wrote in the region of Friuli in the city of Porto Guararo, and it was completed on Tuesday, the 5th of Sivan in the year 5344. Which is equivalent to May 15th, 1584 in the Gregorian calendar. So this colophon, let me show you what it looks like. Unfortunately, I don't have a color image of this because I only ordered color images for manuscript Q of the main pages because it was like 15 euros a page. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get this page I only have in black and white. But here's the really incredible thing, okay? So that's manuscript Q. This now here is the same colophon in manuscript K, verbatim. I, Menachem Moscato, son of my Lord Father Moses, wrote here in Friuli in the city of Porto Guararo, and it was completed on such and such a date. So we have 2 manuscripts, and one of them has a copy, not just of the text, but of the colophon of the other manuscript. Mm-hmm. So that means we can say quite definitively that K is a copy of Q. Mm-hmm. And here's where it gets really exciting, Keith. So in Q, those 4 words are written above the line.
Right.
In K, which is a copy of Q, to the point where it even has the same colophon, those 4 words are in the body of the text.
Oh!
So George Howard in 1987 hypothesizes that we have a bunch of differences between the manuscript. Over time, there's a process of making the and those 4 words are in the Greek. Did I mention that?
Absolutely.
The 4 words that are not in the British Library, they're not in the B group, they're only in the A group, those 4 words are in the Greek. So Howard's hypothesis was, well, originally Hebrew Matthew, as Shem Tov wrote it, had a lot of differences from the Greek, and over time it was modified to match the Greek. And here we have the smoking gun, where the scribe wrote those 4 words above the line, and then in the next copy of that exact manuscript, the 4 words are in the body of the text.
Now, Nehemia, listen.
I'm done.
You can't be done, because I got to ask you a controversial question.
Yeah.
There's no answer to this. I have a theory.
Yeah.
So, in the Greek, it says, and the prophets. In other words, it's Torah and the prophets.
Right.
I'm just throwing this out. Why might the Greek want to do that?
It's a good question. Why do you think so I have a theory, but I want to hear yours first.
I have a theory too, because we're going to deal with this later in the episode. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to go too far, but I at least have to say this. At that time, this is what Howard says. At that time, I love that he did that, Ba'etahi, Jesus said to his disciples, do not think I came to annul the Torah, but to fulfill it. And that the English says, the Torah and the prophets. Well, maybe that same people that were, trying to, how you might say...
abolish the Torah?
Or no, maybe I should put it this way. Theologically.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a theological issue here. In other words, if he is coming to fulfill it, that it needs to be the Torah and the prophets. Just a thought.
Okay, in other words, so if you look at, and let's put it this way, if you look at the verses that according to the New Testament that Yeshua fulfilled, what percentage of those are in the Torah
Versus the
the prophets.
Exactly.
And a much higher percentage are in the prophets. And so in other words, what I think you're suggesting, and this is what I was thinking too, is that if you're focusing on the word to fulfill, and the word to fulfill there means, as it's understood by most Christians, I think, that to fulfill the law and the prophets means through the messianic prophecies. Right? Isaiah said he would be born of a virgin. I've now fulfilled it through being born of a virgin, right? So if that's your understanding of what fulfill means, I understand why you would add in and the prophets. What I love about this, here's what to me is so powerful about textual criticism. I could say, well, the wind is blowing that way, and therefore I prefer the Greek versus the Hebrew. And I could even say, well, even some of the Hebrew manuscripts have that. So it's not just the Greek. It's some of the Hebrew manuscripts are in agreement. But now I've got the smoking gun. I didn't bring manuscript A, which also has the same colophon, by the way, and also has those words in the body of the text. So it's 3 manuscripts, 2 of which were copied from Q or from maybe an intermediary. So it's not just some arbitrary decision to say, well, I prefer this reading. I can show with definitive and objective evidence how I know that the original, as Howard called it, the primitive Hebrew text, at the very least the text that Shem Tov had in 1380 did not have and the prophets, that it was added in manuscript Q, and then from there it disseminated to the other of the A group. So that's what I love about textual criticism, is it gives me the tools. It's like a toolkit that it gives me the ability to objectively deal with this kind of issue and answer it, not just from my opinion or my theology, but in an objective way.
Wow. I love it, man.
Boy, there's so much to talk about here. I don't even know how we're going to do this, and I think we might have to do a little bit of a longer session today, if you'll
absolutely, because I want to give I'm so glad that we're doing this for the public episode, because this is a lot of the hard hat stuff that we end up doing in Plus for all of those other ones. I mean, going deep into the manuscripts and this kind of thing, and now you're starting out that way, which I really love that, so people can see it. But can we at least address the issue of a little bit of the meaning of the words? I mean, in other words, are you ready to do that?
I want to start with reading something from the Word Biblical Commentary, if you'll allow me.
You really? What's this thing? What's this new thing about the Word? All of a sudden,
it's got some interesting insights.